Madison, he really didn't believe in government by the people. It was a sort of a sleight of hand, a ghostly body politic. He really wanted these factions to cancel each other out so that the elites who were in Congress and in the executive would rule because, he had a pretty dim view of human nature. Read the Federalist. That's not there. You can see he's worried about majority faction, but that doesn't mean that when you get to Federalist 51, you see that he wants to control the problem of majority faction so that the majority will rule justly. It's not to take it out of the hands of the people and put it into somebody else's hands. It's to create a system in which there's a refinement and enlargement of the public views, which means it doesn't just happen as like the philosopher's stone, where a stone is turned into gold. It's not magic. It's real work. It's a real hard work of self-government that we actually have to learn something along the way and sometimes change our views on things because we got it wrong or because we're being too selfish. By Federalist 51, Madison says we want a society not with a will independent of the majority, but dependent on the society, dependent on the majority, that's based on the ideas of justice and the common good. He thinks there's a job, a civic responsibility for those citizens who have the best educations, who've thought about these things. I mean, some people, for whatever reason, because they're interested, because they have opportunities, it might not be fair, but some people are more leaders than other people. You have to have leaders in order to get anything done. Things aren't spontaneous where everybody rises at the same time for the same reason and accomplishes something. Look, the revolution was like that. There were leaders in the revolution. There are always leaders in politics. Madison wanted both leaders. He recognized the reality of that and the need for that. And they might be in government. They might not. But some people in government are mere politicians, he thought, and some are statesmen. And then in society at large are people like Franklin. Who would that be today? Who are the people influenced? And it's not people who consider themselves influencers necessarily. It's hard to say because what Madison is talking about is that the best citizens have a job to do. If they've thought about this, they understand the conditions of freedom. They have a job to do in talking about these things and educating the public on these issues. These are the folks that some of whom write in the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post and the New York Times and your local papers. Some of these people are college professors. I'm not saying all college professors are our best citizens. I'm certainly not saying that. I'm saying that people who have thought through these things have a responsibility in Madison's mind. For example, there's all of these recent Supreme Court decisions. People are arguing about it in the public presses. That's what should be happening so that the rest of us can read this and think about it some more. Maybe ourselves get engaged in the argument. Why does Madison think that's important? That's part of public civic education. It's carried on in the public presses. It's carried on in pubs. It's carried on in Rotary clubs. It's carried on in universities, in classes. It's carried on at the National Constitution Center every day. This is what Madison's talking about. All of the various places that are opportunities to think through whither we are tending as a country. So that doesn't take anything away from the common man for Madison. It has to do with how we learn by the clash of ideas and how we all play a part in that.